You work hard all week, but now it's time for a Silicon Valley weekend. Hi, I'm Deborah Vogler. On this Silicon Valley weekend, we're at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California. My guest is Bruce Griggs, president of Griggs Racing Products, and he's located right here at the track. Welcome to the show, Bruce.
Thank you.
I know that you're known for the GR40 suspension system for the late model Mustangs. And now you have the GR350 suspension upgrade for the early Mustangs.
That's correct.
I know my husband has it. So with that in mind, would you be willing to show our viewers just a few of the key features? I know you can't cover it all, but just a few of the key features of your suspension design.
What we do is package several components into a system that corrects all the ills of handling of the production-based car. So it can be used on a racetrack or on the street, but with superior performance. And there's numerous features, one of which is the short long arm front suspension system, as you see here. We have different spindles that we make for various purposes. And it converts, in the late models, it converts a McPherson strut car to a short long arm. And on the GR350 system for the vintage Mustangs, it relocates all the control points, all these pivot points, which are key to the geometry of the car, which is key to the performance of the car. All these pieces are relocated and made more rigid so that the car will perform far, far better.
Now, when I was reading up about this, I noticed that some of the three pieces that seem to stand out in my mind, again, I'm not the expert, you are, but the torque arm and the K-member and the Watts linkage, can you point those out for our viewers who may not be as familiar with cars but want to get into it?
Yes, this is a steering rack which is placed on the K-member, which also supports the engine, which also locates the lower control arms, and is basically, some people call it a front cradle. Proper term is a number 2 cross member, but at the vernacular it's called a K-member because it looks like a K. That's this part right here. These are the motor mounts that go on it. This is for a 1996 to 2004 model.
Now, if someone was actually interested in upgrading their Mustang, I mean, there's different model years or different model styles. What do they have to be aware of?
Well, as the cars develop, the chassis change, from Ford, and we have to make different parts to fit those chassis. But the basic geometric model is the same for all the cars that we do, so they all perform very similarly in a performance environment.
Now that we're in the Griggs Racing shop, we're going to take a look at a car, a real car this time, and I'm going to just turn the microphone over to Bruce and tell us what we're looking at.
Well, thank you. This is a 2007 GR40 track toy, a example of our current technology of our latest cars. And this assembly here is called a Watts link. It's very common to use Watts links in race cars. This is adapted for both street and race. It has an adjustable roll center. It's 2 linkages. It's basically a modified Panhard bar which laterally locates the rear axle, and it takes loads in a different way than the original equipment that came in the car, and allows you to adjust roll center heights. This piece right here is called torque arm. It replaces the stock third link in these cars and provides a more consistent forward bite or torque application to the rear tires from the engine. It allows the car to be driven at the limit in cornering with very subtle changes of the throttle. It handles bumps and cresting hills and whatnot while staying on the throttle without upsetting the car. It makes it much easier to drive. And this is a coilover conversion suspension. We use Nolny-Coney shock absorbers. We have them custom made to our specifications by Coney. This coilover assembly, it's a spring, it's adjustable ride height, and bracketry to fit it. The car is equipped with 315 Hoosier tires all the way around on 18-inch rims. And they barely fit in these cars, but we can fit them with our system. The lower control arms are relocated. Again, as I was speaking about earlier, the pivot points are critical. So we relocate the pivot points to provide proper geometry in the rear. And that's all done with this. The control arms are stronger, and the compliance of the rubber bushings that come original are removed. We do use noise-canceling bushings on our street-driven versions, which is what this car is, which are right here. This is the rear anti-roll bar, which is just a fine-tuning adjustment. You can basically have 3 increments of adjustment in between the coarse adjustments of adjusting the Watts link. And what this does, you adjust oversteer and understeer characteristics of the car for various track conditions, tire conditions, and what the driver preference is and what he needs to do to tune the car. Now, not everybody can understand how to tune these, but one of the things we do is have tremendous tech support to help instruct and teach our customers how to use this. The real serious competitors of the car have to learn how to tune the car. All the power and brake torque that's applied to the rear tires is distributed in the vertical loads through this torque arm. As the pinion reaction occurs, the torque is applied at the pinion, the ring gear, it lifts at this point. This point does not migrate or move as it would with a 3-link. It does not migrate or move as it would with a 4-link. There's no bind in the system. It just simply lifts. And then under braking, it simply pulls down in the car. So the loading of the rear tires is very, very consistent no matter what the car is going through in corners and hills and cresting hills and whatnot. As the driver changes his throttle application or whatever, he doesn't have to saw at the wheel. As the car goes up and over bumps and whatnot, he doesn't have to saw at the wheel at corrections. It's very, very easy to drive the car very fast. And it's interesting that the Model T Ford was the first vehicle to actually have such a thing. The front suspension is a major departure from what's originally delivered. It comes with a McPherson strut system that's geometrically very similar to a BMW. We remove everything, every component of it, the entire cross member, control arm, struts, everything, and we replace with a system this K member. Actually, we call it a front cradle because it's not really a K anymore. And there's a reinforcement plate that runs across here to handle brake loads. It attaches to the original locations. It bolts right on, fits it very, very simply into the car. The engine mounts are here, very simple, lots of room for headers, superchargers, turbochargers, or whatever other tuning devices a driver wishes to do, or car owner, he can do. And the upper control arm is then added by adding a pillar here, which is just simply 4 holes need to be drilled and some bolts put through up at the top. And then another support bracket goes up to the original strut mount. But that bracket locates the upper control arm and the shock absorber and coilover mount. These cars are equipped optionally with our aluminum billet spindle, which allows the car to run lower, as well as it is much more rigid and much stronger, and a much stronger wheel bearing. Plus, it's 2 pounds lighter than the original parts. This front anti-roll bar. It's a lightweight tubular system that is adjustable. It weighs, the entire bar assembly weighs 7 pounds. It's much, much lighter than the stock system on any of the cars. It's a bind-free system that mounts in a ball pivot rather than in bushings. So if there is any chassis flex or flex of components, it will not bind in the action of it as the car rolls. Bind is a very important thing to consider, a component that should be completely eliminated from any performance chassis. Rigidity is extremely important in a performance chassis of all the components as well as the chassis and frame itself. Ford delivers in these new cars an extremely rigid chassis. We don't add any stiffening to the chassis as we have in all other years. We don't make a stiffening kit for them. These new cars are really quite something. The way Ford delivers them is a very nice car. But with these parts added, they can virtually compete from a performance standpoint with anything from anywhere in the world.
Tony. I wanted to ask you what you thought of the ride, and also give you a chance to talk about your business too. What you do?
Well, I restore muscle cars. Cars basically of this era, and before. So anything in the '60s or early '70s, I do. And I'm not used to the technology on the bottom side of this car is just phenomenal. I mean, getting out of my old vintage '67 Shelby race car, which slides all over the track, and you got to hold on, and there's no power steering, and then to jump into this and watch him just effortlessly go around the track so much faster than what I'm used to is just a great time. That was really an experience for me.
All right, well, very good. What is your name of your company?
T&D Hypo Motors.
All right.
In Gilroy. My shop's in Gilroy.
All right, thanks.
Great.
Oh, yeah. You can tell right away, man.
Hi, would you care to comment on the ride for Silicon Valley weekend?
Awesome. Can't believe the way the car handles. I personally own an 05 GT that I want to fix up, take to the track, and looking into buying the suspension parts they have, and it's just unbelievable the way it handles. And really look forward to maybe purchasing and putting it on my car.
Bruce, thank you so much for being my guest on Silicon Valley Weekend and giving us a tour of the car. If people want more information on your products, where can they get it?
www.griggsracing.com. Very simple.
All right, well, thank you.